everybody, Loremaster of Sotek here. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe out there wherever you may be in the world. As we are rapidly approaching good old Valentine's Day, we have a very interesting update from Creative Assembly about improving the AI in Total War Warhammer 3 campaign. So I've just opened this article. I haven't actually read it yet, so I'm going to be reading it with y'all. But this is obviously a pretty big deal. It's not super often that we get a AI adjustment from Creative Assembly, and I am very curious what they have to say on it. But to my understanding, this is going to be an opt-in beta that they are really encouraging everyone to try out, because the more people that try it and can hopefully play it, the more feedback we can submit about issues that we run into, which hopefully gives them chances to fix it, because this is going to be a beta. I believe that's going to be relating to 6.1, but we will see. So it says, hey folks, at the tail end of the year, you saw us run a few of our hotfixes out for Total War Warhammer 3 via the beta function on Steam. This was invaluable for our teams as we readied some necessary game updates during the rollout of Omens of Destruction, helped us catch some last minute feedback from you, and ensure that our updates are on point. Whilst we haven't needed to pull that lever quite so much since we got back to the swing of things 2025, it has encouraged us to think about even more ways that we can involve you in some of our more complex game changes and work closer with you to bring improvements to the game. On tomorrow, February 13th, which is the day before Valentine's, if anyone needs a reminder, if memory serves, if you have someone you're supposed to do Valentine's stuff for, get on it. Tomorrow, we will launch a new public beta branch for Total War Warhammer 3 via Steam. This beta will allow you to experience and provide feedback on the latest improvements to our campaign AI, where your insights and experiences will help us refine and enhance the game. To understand what changes we're making, you'll read about all of the science of these changes from principal technical designer Radoslav Borisov. He has a very fun name. Down below. If you check back on this post tomorrow, you'll find detailed instructions on how to access the beta at the bottom of the post. We'll run this beta for about 2 weeks, bringing it to a close around February the 26th. It'll be running on a modified version of the game, live game you're already playing now, so this beta won't be used to test anything else. And we'll be encouraging people to start fresh campaigns purely for this test. Tomorrow, we're going to be opening a new subforum on the forums to collect feedback on improvements we're looking to make, alongside a survey that will run throughout the beta that will invite you to share your feedback directly with us. This is always great. I love when they do betas. I think public betas is the best thing that Creative Assembly can do as often as possible, as that really allows the community to give great feedback. And it's not like the kind of situations where it's like, oh, Reddit said this, the Steam forum said this, where they're like such insignificantly itty-bitty tiny parts of the community in the grand scheme of things. Like this, you know, it's people actively playing the game, which is always really good. At the conclusion of the first beta, we'll come through all your feedback, pour over the data on our side, and come back to you to talk more about where we're looking to make improvements. If all goes well, we're planning a second round of testing with an updated beta sometime later in spring. Please keep in mind that this is our goal, and to expect direct comms from us in this time frame, if this time frame has to shift. Campaign AI improvement is a big, complex topic, and our goal is to break it down into smaller pieces and address them with player feedback front of mind, so we deliver improvements that you want in a sustainable way. Okay, so this is going to be really interesting. Let's see what they have to do here. Good old CA Sophia. So Sophia's a good team. They're a very good team. Hello there. I'm Radoslav Borisov, principal which deep apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. Principal technical designer at CA Sophia. I want to address an issue you've all been vocal about: idle campaign AI. Yeah, this is something I hear a lot about. And my AI seems to be pretty okay about not doing this. But it's something I hear a lot, and there are so many posts on the subreddit about it. We've heard your feedback loud and clear, and your concerns about idle AI behavior are well-founded. The team has been working on resolving this and preparing to roll out a new beta branch for Total War Warhammer 3 to test some new AI fixes and improvements. Everyone has different preferences and styles when it comes to playing the game, so assessing the impact of these changes is something we cannot do without your evaluations. There are 3 topics which we are trying to address with the beta. A query system, which is how the AI responds to enemy agents. Aggression, tweaks to AI aggression to add nuance. And faction potential, tweaks to the faction potential system with a focus on AI interactions under the Shroud. When we refer to the Shroud, we're talking about the part of the campaign map you have yet to explore, which is different from Fog of War, which covers parts of the map you have explored, but do not yet have line of sight. This blog will be updated with instructions on how to access tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Query system. During investigation, what's causing many cases of idleness, we found a fundamental problem with how the AI detects foreign forces and how it reacts to them. There are two different mechanisms to detect foreign threats: a simple query system and an influence map that shows the extent of every force's range and strength of interaction with assets on the map. The problem we discovered and subsequently fixed for this beta branch had to do with the query system. Inside the campaign AI exists a separation between assets that move and those that do not. Movable assets include agents, armies, and navies. Several of the queries the campaign AI uses to decide if it should use its available forces for tasks such as actively defending threatened territory, where incorrectly reacting to the presence of agents. In practice, the campaign AI was prioritizing tasks of defend settlements when enemy forces are present type when any hostile agent was present. To prevent similar issues in the future, we double-checked all queries function as expected, made sure all queries check mobile asset types, and improved testing processes to account for similar fundamental assumptions being wrong. That's super interesting. So the AI was overreacting to agents on the campaign map. That's very interesting. How will this affect you in game? This means an AI control faction will no longer immediately assume a defensive posture and concentrate forces in/near settlements whenever any hostile agent ventures into their territory. This should enable AI factions to use resources that previously went to the defensive response for other purposes, such as raiding enemy territories, concentrating forces to break through defended positions. Okay, that's very interesting. That will definitely help. I feel like that is not what I expected the problem to be, but that is actually quite interesting. All right, what do we have for aggression? Over the course of reading and investigating community feedback, the team decided we need to revisit how some of the campaign's AI's top-level strategic decisions are made. We identified the component for desired attitudes as a good starting point. The desired attitudes component basically tells the campaign AI how aggressive it should be towards rival factions. An oversimplified way of thinking about is the AI thinking, do I want to be friends with X or do I want to fight X? Our goal is here to promote more conflict between AI factions and to improve the AI's decision-making when it comes to desired attitudes. We're testing AI aggression fixes in two areas for this beta. The first is desired attitudes decision-making improvement. We've tweaked how the AI assesses the strength of a rival faction, measures how close their armies are, and thus how much of a threat they pose. And then negative multipliers for unknown factions. So the factions that the AI is not at war with nor aware of through alliances or other diplomatic interactions. We've tweaked these to make the desired attitudes for unknown factions trend negatively, incentivizing more warring between AI factions. Okay. All right, that's good. I think that's an exciting change. That's interesting. How will this affect you in game? This means the AI will be more nuanced when choosing how aggressive to be towards known factions instead of the simple befriend, ignore, or fight behavior it currently exhibits. This should add some shades of gray and lead to more varied interactions between you and your AI neighbors. On the other hand, AI factions across the map will be more belligerent towards each other from the start, which should help make campaigns more dynamic and varied for you across multiple playthroughs. That is very, very interesting. Okay, so it's going to make... Oh, that's interesting. So it's going to make the AI significantly more aggressive when it comes to dealing with factions that they don't necessarily have like all of the information on, or the faction is like a little bit out of the way, as opposed to just sort of a bunch of AI factions just ignoring one another, which does sound like it's going to make things quite a bit more interesting. Faction potential. A cornerstone of the campaign IA's behavior is the faction potential system. Each faction in the game gets assigned a numeric potential value, which has an impact on many other systems in the game. Said potential value varies between campaigns and difficulty levels and is incredibly important to how the AI performs. I will not go into details in the exact way faction potential works today, but it's something we could spotlight in the future. One part of faction potential is how AI factions interact with each other when under the Shroud. Our goal is here to promote more interactions between the AI factions and to allow major factions more opportunity to organically grow and become stronger. We've made 5 tweaks to faction potential for this beta. A slight increase of major faction AI faction strength versus minor AI factions. Okay, so that means that the playable major factions are going to be more likely to become major threats and bigger empires than the minor factions are. Slight increase of faction potential weight and auto resolve calculations. Okay, that's interesting. So it'll make it where if an AI has higher faction potential, it's a little bit more likely to win in auto resolve. Lowered the minimum faction potential minor factions can have. So minor factions can now have even less potential than they used to, meaning that minor factions will have the... Okay, that actually is quite interesting. So major factions are now receiving a bit of a boost in comparison to minor factions, but in addition to that, minor factions have a lower floor now. So a minor faction can have an even lower faction potential than they used to, meaning that they will get like curb stomped really fast by a major faction. Moderately increase the maximum faction potential bonus for AI factions under the Shroud. This allows higher potential factions to defeat and conquer lower potential factions factor. Okay, so it sounds like they are really stacking all of these. Small increase of base faction potential for all factions on all difficulty levels. So, okay, that's interesting. So it sounds like this is going to make it where major factions are going to be significantly deadlier towards minor factions. So you're going to be less likely as you wander further across the world to run into just like little minor factions that are just kind of hanging on to a handful of settlements and have been for like the last 50 to 100 turns. It sounds like the major factions are going to be far more inclined to gobble up all of that space, especially when they're not in your theater, so to speak. So like if you're playing, let's say, Kroq-Gar down in the Southlands, then over in places like Lustria, Nagaroth, Grand Cathay, and the Empire, it's going to be far more likely for the major factions to rapidly develop into like regional powers, which is interesting. How will this affect you in game? Major factions will conquer minor factions faster and survive longer, decreasing the chance that they will be knocked out in the early game and therefore resulting in more diplomatic interactions and battles with them for you during your playthrough. It will also increase AI faction interactions across the board, further building on tweaks to idle AI and aggression above to reduce AI passive behaviors in general. Please keep in mind that if you're reporting issues you encounter when playing on this beta branch that aren't related to the campaign, please don't use this beta, essentially. So they're saying if you're going to participate in this beta, please don't use mods, first of all. So if you're going to use this beta, please just play vanilla. And B, don't report on issues that are not related to the beta, or that are not related to the campaign AI, because that's not really what the beta is about. If you run into some other kind of bug, try and recreate the bug on the live patch and report it on there, because the beta is really just supposed to be about the AI. So this is going to be really, really interesting. I'm excited for this. The campaign AI has definitely been a major sticking point for a lot of people very recently. Very rightfully so, I should say. So I think that this is a very good, solid, exciting development. I'm really, really curious what this is going to actually look like. I understand what they're laying down, so to speak, but it's going to be very different to see it in practice and get the chance to see what exactly it is we're looking at. So do let me know what y'all think about the AI changes down below, whether you're like me and we're waiting for the beta patch to come out, or if you're watching this later and you've tried the beta patch, feel free to come back here and leave your thoughts about how it's going so far. But please don't forget that if you're going to participate in this, which I highly recommend that you do, to submit your feedback in the using the subforum and also the feedback poll that they're going to be using. Please be sure to actually participate so they can get as much feedback as possible, so we can get the best AI we could possibly have, which is going to make it a better gameplay experience for all of us. But with that, that's the end of this little video. For those that want to know what I'm up to, obviously we have Lorebeards later today, which I'm really excited about. We're doing the Build a God thing. But I'm also almost done with the Norska video. I'm actually probably going to be finishing it between now and the Lorebeards. So that'll be good. And there's a lot of very, very exciting stuff coming on the horizon. Much of which I don't want to talk about yet because I can't. But there's some cool things coming down the chimney. So do be sure to stay tuned. And I will see you guys around. Thanks for watching.